Hello and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reviewing the amazing book that I decided to read in one sitting with one meal break within maybe 3 hours. Parable Ports, Book 2, The Captain's Clue. So before I start telling you about the second book, let me tell you about the first book. The first book, The Sower's Secret, set up the scene for this book. It was probably, I would give it 5 out of 5 stars, the first book. And it has these kids, and there's a parable that they learn about in Bible study. All of a sudden, this parable is coming to life, and the kids have to figure out what's going on, and they find out a little bit about the history of town and that this has happened before, and they have to stop it. So then in this second book, which I would give 5+ out of 5 stars, it kind of continues with the same characters, but this one in particular has a great message that I would like to point out that is super relevant to today. So it talks about one of the kids in this story is wanting to be a podcaster, and it talks a lot about where you're you can having a podcast but still telling the truth and respecting your friends' boundaries. And I think that is a very important message that is conveyed through this book. This book is about the parable of the wise and foolish builders, which is one of my favorite parables, actually. My favorite parable is the parable of the shepherd, where they talk about what a shepherd leaving the 99 to get the one. But this book is probably my second favorite parable of the wise and the foolish builder. So, as you can see from the cover, there's obviously a rainstorm, and one of the things that happens in these books is the parables are being twisted to cause these problems, and the kids have to talk about what the parables really mean, and it's educational, and I loved it, even as an adult found it educational and meaningful, and quite entertaining, to the point where I was like, oh, I'll just read one more chapter. An hour later, oh, well, I'm halfway through. Might as well just finish. I will tell you, my favorite character is probably either Anthony or Duck. And Duck is very entertaining, but he's still smart, and he won't point out to you. He's like, nope, I still know things. I still have good ideas. Like, what do you mean? And that was one of my favorite parts of this book, that he was like, what? I still got good ideas. Just because I'm the comic relief character doesn't mean I can't be smart. And I love that about this book. I would say every single character in this book is amazing. Both the good, the bad, and the medium characters. And I just want to take a moment to point out some of the illustrations. They are amazing. There's one for every chapter. There's an illustration. And it actually has a little devotional at the end, which I found very good and powerful. And there's also, if you're reading it with your kid, there's some discussion questions in there. It's as I said, I feel like this video doesn't do it justice. It's a beautiful book. It's well written. It's not too dense, and it's still got a lot of action. It's got everything. And one of my favorite parts about the characters here is they have a lot of different kinds of characters. they weren't just all like stereotypical characters like you'll see in a lot of middle grade books, and children's books. They all had their own layers and their own backstories, and they weren't all the same, and they weren't just what you thought they were originally. There was a lot of depth in the characters. My favorite part of the book was the ending, for sure. With I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's a scene with an octopus, and I love that scene. And so I'm not gonna spoil anything about it. It definitely set up. I hope we find more. So this key right here, we found a little bit more about, but we don't really know what the key's for. So it's not really a spoiler because I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this key. But I really want to find out. And I really want to hear more of these characters. So hopefully more books soon. Well, I mean, it takes a while to write them, but and yeah, we had some new characters introduced, and one of them, Mrs. Sage. I'm not gonna, she's kind of an interesting character. I'm not gonna spoil anything of her. I will just say she was a very interesting character. I don't know how I feel about her, and I'm not gonna tell you how I feel about her, but I thought she was very interesting. Yeah, so definitely, if you haven't picked up the first one, you definitely need to pick up the first one first. And then you can get to reading this one, which was just released, I think, Tuesday. And you definitely need to check out both of them very soon. Thanks for watching my channel, and I hope you'll check out some of these books.